So this video has been one I've been wanting to make for quite a bit of time now, and I guess since we've already hit 750,000 subscribers and I'm about to reach 5 years on Roblox and I'm doing college applications, I might as well just do it now. My first memory was the first time I used a computer. When I was just 3 years old, my parents let me play on their computer. It ran Windows XP and had a single core Pentium and 256 megabytes of RAM. It's absolutely terrible compared to modern computers, but it could run some basic 2D games, and my parents were eager to let me figure out things on my own and how to use a computer. I ended up finding the control panel one day and began messing around with random things. So you can probably tell from this experience, I wasn't really ever a super social kid. When my parents took me to playgrounds, I would huddle very close to them rather than go out and play with the other kids, which is something that was really strange, but they assumed that it was just part of growing up. They initially thought it was due to a language barrier because my grandparents taught me how to speak Chinese first when I was at home all day, so they sent me to an English-speaking daycare to help me learn the language. At this point, I could understand what other people were saying, but I still wasn't comfortable talking to them. There was something else besides language that was causing the problem. By the time elementary school started, I had already had enough experience from messing around in programs like Microsoft Word and could do some basic troubleshooting like fixing no sound problems. In early elementary school, people simply didn't judge people, at least like in my school they didn't. I tended to get in trouble a lot for not following directions because I just liked exploring things on my own. At the time I didn't realize it, but the real reason was that I just wasn't comfortable asking other people how things worked. So I just wanted to figure it out myself. I saw others getting together, but I thought it was just a bunch of nonsense, so I just mostly stuck to myself and wanted to figure out things on my own. However, as I entered 4th and 5th grade, teachers began telling us how difficult middle school was going to be, and a lot of people began to change, and they started judging people based on looks, their interests, and all the other stuff like that. I felt kind of prepared for middle school since I was used to figuring things out by myself, and I was learning things pretty quickly, and I still do. I usually got perfect grades on most everything. However, other people didn't really like the fact that I just enjoy learning new things rather than socialize. Instead, they were into movies, music, TV, basically everything that I saw as a bunch of nonsense when I was younger. They judged me on how different I was from the normal student and excluded me from their social groups. So I never really found it important to make friends, and none of this really bothered me at all. I continued exploring new fields, and one day I went to a game night at our school, and there happened to be a demonstration robot built with LEGO Mindstorms. I was super fascinated by everything it could do and convinced my parents to get me a set. While waiting for it to arrive, I taught myself how to program the robots so that once I built them, I could test out the code. I really enjoyed this process, so I decided to join a competitive robotics team later that year. So the first year I did it, we managed to win first place in robot design category, which was actually quite impressive, considering that I had just started that year. However, during middle school, things definitely began to change. I thought everyone was going to be more serious about schoolwork for the first few days, and everything did seem quite normal for those days. But later on throughout the year, as people realized it was just like a baby step up from elementary school coursework, they just began to focus more and more on those social activities I saw as crap and never really got into. For the most part, I saw being part of a majority as kind of bad. Like, in elementary school, I kept getting perfect grades, and I was always part of the minority group that enjoyed reading nonfiction books and figuring stuff out on my own. And throughout middle school, I just kind of wanted to maintain this status. So one day, I was introduced to a math and science club at our school, and I decided to join the first meeting after a lot of debate, because I thought there was going to be a lot of people that were much better than me, and I was not going to be comfortable around other people that were better than me. Turns out I was correct. There were plenty of other people better than me at both math and science, which were my strengths at the time. At first, I got very frustrated, as I was always used to being the best of the best. But I decided to stay in that team and learn all the tricks to better myself. I just wanted to be number one in areas besides social stuff. Most other students only seem to care about socializing, which I saw was very overrated. I keep on emphasizing this, but I really thought social stuff was overrated at the time. I continued to do robotics and play video games, as well as learn more about various science topics. At the state meet competition at the end of the year for that math and science team club, I managed to win first place in science, which was a huge surprise, considering that at the beginning of the year, I thought I was absolute trash when I saw the scores of other people at least 100 points above me. Summer break was never really that fun for me. It was always super boring. I would just be at home with nothing to do, as my parents weren't really into this thing called just play video games all day. So I would occasionally have week-long summer camps about STEM activities such as web design and robotics, and they let me explore these fields and see what I was interested in. However, I didn't have those camps every week, so on the weeks I had nothing to do, I managed to just bypass the restrictions by simply going to one of my friend's house to play video games there. I watched him play this one game that had murderers and innocents and sheriffs, and I really enjoyed it. He told me it was a game on Roblox, and I should make an account and join him and play together. So one day my parents forgot to put up my electronics, so I snuck onto my tablet and made my account. As soon as I could play on PC again, I immediately joined my friend in a different game called The Quarry, where he taught me most of the controls. I eventually found other games like Base Wars, Roforce Rescue Mission, and Mad Games, and throughout 7th grade, people figured out that I was playing Roblox with my friends, and at that time, top games on Roblox had like 1,000, 2,000 players at most, and the people didn't really have that much respect for Roblox, and especially those that played Roblox. So as such, they made fun of me and did all sorts of bad stuff, excluding me from group projects and social groups and everything like that, which did nothing but only reinforced my idea that group projects suck, and social stuff sucks as well. I remember having this one teacher that just really didn't appreciate people being different for some reason. Like, I was so different from everyone else. I didn't like fiction books. I didn't know anything that was like popular at the time, like none of those movies, TV, music, whatever. And I just tended to avoid social activity in general and seemed awkward when talking to other people. In the next school year, I had a teacher that knew the other teacher quite well and heard from her and said, yeah, this kid's weird, basically. A lot of people in my class saw me as weird, and there was only really one or two other people that really kinda accepted my differences. And at the time, this wasn't really that big of an issue because the previous year had similar people doing that, and I still didn't really care much about social activity, but things inside of me were worsening every day throughout that 8th grade year. I felt more and more isolated from everyone else, less willing to do things I used to enjoy, and just in general felt like crap by the end of the year. Teachers were against my non-traditional interests, people hated me for being different, they thought I was annoying asking all these questions about TVs, movies, and stuff like that I had zero idea, and in general all this negativity just stacked up, and at the end of the year it was just so bad, I questioned if I would even make it out alive by the end of the summer. However, sometime in that school year, I signed up for a 6-week summer class about an introduction to digital media, which gave me something to do over the summer, which made it suck less than it previously sucked. Also, on Roblox, I had gone into this game called Lumber Tycoon 2. Sometime in the summer, I believe it was like the 2nd or 3rd week, it got updated with some wiring stuff. And one of the first things I made is a machine that just shot bits of wood into the air like it was confetti, and I called it Treefetti. Because, yeah, and I decided to record it. That video initially got upwards of 50,000 views, which when I first posted, it was like crazy wild. Like back then, I barely got any views on a video. I got like 10s or something like that. I realized that making videos made me not think about these bad experiences that I had earlier that year, and it let me use my free time on something I genuinely enjoyed doing, which was sharing my experiences in-game with the world while building a community of people with similar interests as me. At first, I didn't really use voice because I thought it would sound the craziest, awkwardest person ever and not even close to the typical YouTube creator. And sometime around October 2016, I met another creator who also played Lumber Tycoon 2. I really wanted to let him try out my Treefetti machine and just play the game together for a video, but he insisted that I use voice as it was easier to communicate that way. So after thinking about it for a really long time, I decided to break out of my comfort zone and release a video that did contain my voice, but I put super loud music to cover most of it up, which made it technically still have my voice, although it was barely audible. I've always questioned how other people were able to talk seemingly normal, but like, I was completely shaking, I could barely form words like that, it was just terrible. And as expected, people did leave some terrible comments on that video, but I thought about the other times that I taught myself how to do things, and it's not easy at first, but once you do it over and over and over and over and over again, it starts to become second nature and seems normal to you. I continued using voice in videos and switched from Lumber Tycoon 2 to Treelands because Lumber Tycoon 2 stopped getting updated and Treelands videos were getting more popular. Treelands was like one of the first communities I ever really fully supported. I made videos on that game and moderated that Discord and worked on their wiki. It was super duper amazing, great experience to start inside of this new community and try to improve myself, but a few months in, some unfortunate event happened and that community began getting really toxic. Then, Jailbreak released. When Jailbreak first released, I didn't really like it, as I was really new to the game and had no idea how to play it, which made me feel like crap because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't expect it to be better than everyone else. But throughout the day, I kept on wanting to play it until I learned pretty much everything about it. I released a video of me playing Jailbreak every day pretty much since then, and at the end of June 2017, my channel just completely took off. I went from getting like 50 subscribers at most today to like 500 or 600 in a day, and people in general just seemed to really like it when I played Jailbreak. And at that time, I thought my crazy sub growth was pretty epic. And I continued playing Jailbreak every day pretty much since then. In January 2018, I hit 100,000 subscribers. I've seen a bunch of other videos of like people reaching 100,000 subscribers with like all these creators going crazy excited over reaching that mark, but when I hit it, it was just a number increasing to me, honestly, and nothing really much besides that. There was no crazy feelings of happiness, didn't feel like anything changed, and I wasn't sure if this was normal. During sophomore year of high school, people began realizing that I had a channel because I worked on it in the secret, pretty much, since freshman year. And my rapid increase in subscribers did happen over the summer. Some of those people that really, previously questioned me, now began to respect me for the first time. They started letting me become part of their group projects, wanting me to give them suggestions on how to do things better, rather than just working with me. But I still felt super awkward talking to others, especially teachers, despite having been making videos with voice for over a year at that point. At this point, I realized that those weird thoughts I was getting after talking to people weren't really normal, and so I saw a counselor for professional help. After getting the results, which I will keep private for now, I finally had an answer to why I never really cared that much about social activities and why I never really felt that interacting with others was normal, and I felt it was super strange. So you might have asked why I waited so long to get a diagnosis, and the reason is that I just thought growing up was this painful. I was going to be super nervous talking to other people and question everyone's trustworthiness all the time. And since seeking help, I sound way less nervous both in my videos and in conversations with others than I did when I first started. Which, regardless of how many views, subscribers, anything like that I get, it's definitely one of the biggest achievements of my life. So in summary, I started this channel out to have something to do over the summer and to distract me from all these crazy negative thoughts I had when I was super bored. And having this large of an audience was really just a major side effect. I never expected that I would reach over 750,000 subscribers. At the time, I thought I was only going to hit 25,000 subscribers after a year. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make that, because I was getting 1,000 a month or something like that, which now I'm getting 1,000 a day, and it is absolutely wild. Thank you to everyone who has supported me throughout this crazy journey. I hope this video gave you more context into who I am and why I do things the way I do. If there's any lesson that you learned from this video, just never let those dumb haters ruin your life. Find something you enjoy doing and legally pursue it to the fullest. And once you're at the top, those that had underestimated you will just look like clowns. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Please try to keep the comment section as positive as possible, because spreading negativity is just bad in general. It just causes a bunch of toxicity and drama and everything like that. Thank you guys for watching, and remember to stay unique and never ever underestimate anyone.